and gentlemen, welcome back to the workshop. We have a huge problem with the pizza cutter. Before we jump in, let's thank today's sponsor. And today's sponsor is Trade Coffee. This morning, I'm drinking some of the Revelator 9 to 5. It's a super dark roast, and I really love it. The way that I got this coffee specifically was I went online to Trade's website, I filled out their quiz, and they had it delivered to our door. And that's what's really unique about Trade, is that they have this awesomely intuitive quiz that you guys can figure out exactly which coffee you're gonna like based off of your past experiences with coffee. And after you receive a coffee, you can figure out what you like about it, what you don't like about it, give it a rating on their website, and continue to curate exactly what you want in your morning cup of joe. You can also set how frequently you want fresh bags of coffee depending on how much you drink it. Us here at the shop, we drink a lot of coffee, so being able to set that to a fast refresh rate is pretty wonderful. Make sure to go check out Trade at the link in the description for 30% off your first bag of Trade coffee. Thank you, Trade, for sponsoring today's episode. With that, let's jump back in. So the huge issue that we have is that we have a beautiful pizza cutter and no stand for it. The client reached out and said, "Hey, Will, I'd really like a stand, so we're gonna make it happen." We got a beautiful piece of curly maple we're able to make this cool stand out of, so let's give it a shot. So you guys might have picked up on the fact that I'm actually abandoning this piece of the stand so that we can have this little spiral be the sole piece, as it pretty securely holds the pizza cutter just like that. I think it looks a lot cleaner, a lot nicer. The footprint is gonna be smaller. Now time to figure out where we're gonna be drilling holes in the base of this thing to bolt it into our little bottom plate. We're now going to build a plexiglass box to enclose the outside and protect it. So, this isn't going to work as planned for a couple reasons. First off, this table isn't locking. I had to clamp it with a C-clamp. Another thing is that these cuts just aren't coming out clean. I don't know how to fix that or change that. It's a really nasty cut. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and try to play around a little bit with different polishing techniques. So I watched a couple YouTube videos, and one of the techniques that they talked about was flame polishing. I'd like to see if that works on this stuff. Oh yeah, it does. That's freaking cool. Never mind. It does for a little bit. Just have to not catch it on fire. Try a little hand sanding before the flame polish. Alright, I'm pretty confident I can get a nice finish on the edge of a piece of plexiglass, and we can just do square cuts on the table saw. But what I also learned when I was doing a little bit of research is that you need a specific glue for acrylic, so we're going to go to get that glue. We're going to interrupt really quick because something just showed up. This right here is a pizza oven. I let the client who's buying the pizza cutter know that I didn't cut any pizza with it because I wanted him to be the first one to use it. And he said, no, you should do it. I'm sending you a pizza oven. Let's go ahead and open this thing up. What the heck? Oh my goodness. Wow. Oh my gosh.
Will, you can stand on this pizza cutter.
Oven.
Oh, this is well made.
Oh my God.
I mean, this is some.
Feels so solid.
This is a nicely manufactured item.
Hot diggity. So we got our adhesive, we've got a cut list. We're just gonna go for it. Remember that cracking noise that happened earlier when I was gluing that up? Well, it wasn't nothing. It was this crack over here. So good. So, that's really, really too bad. I spent a full day just on the plexiglass box. Really disappointing. Turns out, I've never worked with acrylic before and it's really hard to do. I also found out that you can buy an acrylic box for like 50 bucks online. So that's kind of painful. And then I found out that the client doesn't really care if there's a plexiglass box or not. And on top of that, the stand that I was working on out of that curly maple somehow accidentally broke. So with all of that, we're gonna go ahead and make a new stand. I've got a really cool idea for how this might work out. I have this piece of bronze as a little bearing that was a similar material to what we used on the guard. And I think that if we take that and secure it to a piece of plate like this, cut down, and then we can carve a slot so that the pizza cutter hangs like that. And I think that is going to be really freaking cool. It'll be nice and simple, but still complement the roundness of the pizza cutter blade. I think it's a really good solution for the problem that we have, which is stands are hard to build. So let's do it. So we got the outside polished up really well on the sides, and now we need to clean up the inside here. Now I've got these Scotch-Brite / sanding paper pads that'll fit in the Fordham, and we have these really big flat wheels that will fit in the die grinder in the grinding room. Hopefully we won't have to use those. We're gonna try these first, and if they don't work, then we will take it to a little bit more aggressive approach. Unfortunately, I think we're gonna have to head into the grinding room and use these puppies. So this is the shape we're gonna shoot for. It should mean that we can slide in the pizza cutter and then drop it down, and that blade will hang perfectly here in the middle. And it'll be a nice and secure way for it to sit in there. I'm gonna mill my slot that the actual tang will sit in. Before we try cutting the slot that leads to it, it should just give a little bit more freedom in what we're doing, hopefully. We'll see how it works. now that we've got the hoop fitting up, we're gonna cut ourselves a piece of steel for the base. All right, we got that punched in the middle now, and we're gonna take this drill tap combo and go on through and drill and tap ourselves a hole. All right, now that we've got the pizza oven up and running, we've come up to my house in order to make some pizza. We've got prosciutto, fresh tomatoes, fresh basil, and some mozzarella, and we're gonna go ahead and see if we can whip this up into something edible. I have no idea what I'm doing. All right, here we go. This thing definitely has way too much stuff on it, but can I just say, the pizza cutter cut through it, no problem. Wow, I'm not even acting right now. This is just straight up delicious. Thank you guys so much for following along with this and continuing through and watching the stand and watching it just effortlessly slice through some very, very thick, somewhat poorly made, yet delicious pizza. So thank you guys for following along, and thank you again to Trade for sponsoring today's episode.